we'll see. I think I'll turn down this one, right? The computer, right?
Yeah, do the computer one.
'Cause
And we are live. It looks like we are live from Facebook and YouTube. Hey, y'all, happy Tuesday. You already know how it goes. We are setting up for showtime. So we're going to get into the introductions once the show starts. So enjoy some tunes by my previous show guest, Tasia Labrie. Y'all remember Tasia? She is a singer, dancer, performer, everything else. Very talented young woman. So make sure y'all tap in. Let me know what y'all think. And we are live. Hello and welcome to Get Into the Bag. I am your host, Embryo Coleman, and this podcast is brought to you by Columbus Black and
we are live.
Columbus Black serves to be the primary source of communication in Columbus, Ohio. So make sure you tap into all the events happening in the Columbus area and follow them on all social media platforms. Mile, making your life entertaining, is the next generation of software where you can curate your own experience with just the tap of a finger. It's easy, free to use, and when you're looking for things to do, places to go, and places to eat, just Mile it. So y'all, we have a great show planned for y'all tonight. We have Shammy on the live here on YouTube and Facebook. So we're going to get her on the live here, the Columbus African Festival here in a moment. And while that is happening, make sure y'all tap in. I have my girl Tasia Labrie. Y'all remember Tasia? She was a dancer, actress, performer, creative. This is her song, Don't Go Back, on YouTube. I know that's right. Don't go back to what you had. Talk to me. Y'all know I love when y'all talk to me. Let me know how y'all Tuesday is going. I'll be the first to let y'all know that today was a day, but guess what? We here. We live and we smiling.
We smiling.
We smiling, girl.
We're smiling.
We can't be down for too long. I am a professional, so I will turn it on when I need to turn it on. How are you this evening?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good, girl. You know, it's a Tuesday. It's another Tuesday.
On a Tuesday.
Right. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Are you excited about being on the show?
I am very, very excited and a little bit nervous, but more excited than nervous.
Don't be nervous, girl. It's going to be totally conversational. We're going to have a good time. We're going to rock out like always.
Awesome.
All right, y'all. Well, y'all know it's 7 p.m., so that means it is showtime. Don't go back to what you had. I know that's right. Do not go back, honey. We sharks don't swim backwards. Forward only.
Amen.
Well, welcome to the show. I have Miss Shamisa. She goes by Shami.
Yep,
Shammy. She goes by Shammy, and she is the director for communications for the Columbus African Festival. So she's going to tell us all the stuff that we can expect from the Columbus African Festival coming here to Columbus, Ohio this weekend. And we're going to learn about her background, more about her, but I'm going to leave her to tell that to y'all. So go ahead and we're going to get into some introductions here. Take the floor away, girl. Tell us about you, your name, how old you are, where you're from, all that good stuff.
All right. Hey, guys. My name is Shami Songogoni. My last name is like really difficult to pronounce. So you can call me Shami. I'm 29. And I work with the Columbus African Festival. We have been doing it for 3 years. We took a break during the pandemic, but we're back. I am from Zimbabwe. That's my home country. And I've lived in the United States for 10 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. And 6 of those have been in Columbus. So 6 years in Columbus.
Columbus. And where did you live? Where was the other 4? Arkansas. No, I'm just kidding. Arkansas. Okay. I have actually never talked to anybody from Arkansas. Where were you first?
So that's exactly where I landed, like literally where I lived for 4 years. I landed there and it was like a small town in South Arkansas called Magnolia. It's a college town, so basically there's the campus and nothing else.
Sounds about right.
Yep. And it was 4 hours away from Dallas, 2 hours from Little Rock. So, I got used to driving around before I got to Columbus. So I'm grateful for that.
Well, we are happy that you're here and landed in Columbus. And I was telling her before we got on live, y'all, that she looks good. Okay, I would have never guessed that she is 29. But that is just that black don't crack. Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about how you came to Columbus. How'd you got here? What made you want to come here?
Okay, so my family, my sister lived in Columbus. So she actually studied at Ohio Wesleyan University. And so when she studied there and she worked here in Columbus for a little bit. So when I graduated, she was like, this is the right place for you to be for what you studied. I have a bachelor's in biochemistry. And she's like, you'll get to work like almost immediately, move to this town. And she's like older than me by like 5 years. Mm-hmm. So I was like, listen, I need all the help I can get.
Okay.
You tell me that's a good place for me to be, I'm going to move there. And as I said, I was moving from a very, very small town. So I was like, I don't discriminate. As long as it's better than this place, I'm coming.
Here I come.
So I moved here and I've been here ever since. So technically I moved to Columbus to work. I had a few other like friends and family who already lived here. So I had enough support that it made the move worth it. Awesome. Yeah, 4 years living alone in the middle of nowhere. You value family and community very highly after that. So
I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah. And you said your major was biochemistry?
Yes. Biochemistry.
Okay, so we're gonna have to tap into that a little bit because, not saying, not knocking the sciences or whatever, but what made you want to major in that?
You know what? I think it was just like pure academic interest. Like when I was in school, I enjoyed chemistry. I enjoyed it. So it was that like juvenile pursuit of something that you enjoy. I think I didn't think much into what the career would look like. Mm-hmm. And, you get the rude awakening once
right.
you're working and you're making that transition. But as I made that transition and I was in the lab working, I had 2 lab experiences, did research lab, and then I also did like traditional commercial lab. I worked for a pharmaceutical. You kind of get the idea, like, maybe I don't want to be stuck in a lab all throughout the year.
Right.
And so I made some different moves after that, but like that was like just pure interest. But academic interest and the realities of working can be a little bit different for sure.
To talk about it. I have had so many people on my podcast who have went to school for one thing, they got into that field and they was like, I don't think so. Let's try something else. And thank y'all so much for hopping on the live Back Talk Tuesday. Shout out to Dan, my guest last week. So you worked in a lab. Did you work in this lab in Kansas, in Columbus, in Zimbabwe?
I worked in a lab in Columbus. So I had a bit of lab experience in Arkansas for just 3 months. It was an internship. Uh-huh. And that was pretty rough. Like I was a junior in college at that point, and I did 3 months of my summer inside a lab. Mm-hmm. And if you've ever worked in a lab, it's just huge windows and you can see the outside. And I was literally seeing people skating outside, riding their bicycles,
having fun,
dogs, having fun. And I was in the lab, and everybody, the people who were senior to me were staying longer. We're staying past the 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And I was getting cut slack because I was an intern. And I remember thinking, I can't do this. And labs are cold, on a general lab or hospital, they're just cold places. Mm-hmm. So I would be having a sweater on underneath my coat, and I'm just staring going, they're so happy outside and I'm in here. So I remember thinking, okay, so I don't want to be a researcher. So let me skip that. And then when I moved to Columbus, I was like, I've heard so many good things about working in a lab, commercially. So I went and I worked for a pharmaceutical, and I did that for about a year. Mm-hmm. And this was worse because
it was worse. Okay.
Because I worked a night shift, and that's I think the thing that a lot of people don't understand is pharmaceuticals is just an industry, just like anybody else. They run 24 hours, and if the staff, the regular staff, like on the floor, production are working a 24-hour shift, that means that everybody else involved is working a 24-hour shift. So that means that quality was working a 24-hour shift. So I worked a night shift, and I had never worked a night shift. Like, I thought I had in college, but I hadn't.
You like, not a night shift like this, right?
Yeah, and I used to start at around 10:30, and I would clock out at 7 a.m. And it was just, I thought I would have a better experience because then I would be seeing people outside. I would be outside.
Right.
But I really struggled with like balancing the time differences. And again, I felt like I found myself in the same environment. Like, labs are cold, they're not very friendly.
Right.
And of course, I was trying to adjust to corporate America. I was not ready for corporate. I was not ready for the environment. Everybody who I've ever met says like corporate is like high school. It's like a high school cafeteria. And I was like, I didn't do American. I heard people say that, and I was like, I didn't do American high school, so I don't know what you're talking about. Like, this is not the high school experience I've had.
Right.
Like, my ideas of teamwork were like very different, and college sold me a very different picture. And then the day-to-day work experience was a little bit different. So I was like, I'm getting out of here.
What was it exactly like that moment being in corporate where you like, okay, this is enough?
It was like, because, and I think this is the part where like I was forced out of it quicker, because again, I didn't have my whole family here. I'm already an immigrant. I don't have support. So
right.
whenever I work, it has to offer me a little bit more than just get your check and go home. And I needed like friends. I needed mentors. And I was experiencing my life as a Black woman in America. You know, I think when you say that, it's like it bunches things together. I was Black and I was a woman in America in corporate culture.
Yeah.
And science field is very male dominated. It's very male dominated. Most women, once they have kids, they step out or they're pushed out in some way. So I saw my seniors, I was only there for like a year, but I saw seniors who had kids getting fired, like things just happening that didn't make sense. I saw people who were parents having a hard time trying to adjust. Like, I remember it was a bad winter storm year, and there would be snow days for kids, and people wouldn't be able to like go pick up their kids. I had a coworker whose parents passed away. She was an immigrant. She was based in Germany. Her family was based in Germany, and she was given the 3 days bereavement. And I kept on going, that's it?
Right. Like, these are my parents. Right.
I was like, and you know what? She was really tough to work with because she didn't get the grieving process beyond that point. And we all just had to kind of like, you know, come around her and just like support her. But she was going through a very tough time. And I was like, okay, like socially, I feel out of place here. And I think that's partly how I ended up like getting into like the African community a little bit more and really trying to tap in and see how I can create community around myself. Yeah. Because it was very obvious that my idea of community, my idea of a workplace was not what I was seeing and receiving in this place. And I always said to myself, if I get into a workplace and I look at people who are like 5 years into the future of what I think I'm going to be, or 10 years, and it doesn't look great, then I will rethink something. Right. Yeah. So at that point, I already started rethinking. And then I went back to school like any other Black woman would.
Absolutely, because you can never have too much education, okay?
When in doubt, go get another degree.
Go get another degree. Come on, that is some real back talk. When in doubt, go get another degree. I love that. So it was more of the experiences, like not really personally that you were experiencing in corporate. It was more like what you were seeing and what like you having to help other people create that community for other people. And you like, this is ugly. Like, I don't like this.
Yeah. And I don't know, I feel like maybe it's just something that we do as Black women is if you do something to us, we can handle it. But if you do something to somebody else, I'll be like,
oh no, like, right.
For me, it was my desire to advocate for people around me that pushed me out, because I know I wasn't being treated well, and I know I wasn't in a good work environment, but that would not have been enough for me to say, okay, bye. Like, that would not, like, I don't know. I feel like we're very willing to sacrifice ourselves, and I was willing to sacrifice myself. But when I looked around, I was like, I think I'm gonna be them very soon. And regardless of that, I just can't see people be treated this way and be okay with it. So yeah, I really started pursuing other things outside of like my 9 to 5. That was amazing. Yeah.
And I totally feel that. I mean, toxic work environments, I don't know why they're becoming more normalized, especially with like this great resignation right now. I feel like the more the further we get, trying to get past this pandemic, and we're seeing people leave their jobs, we're seeing people being overworked, we're seeing people that are not being listened to. And for some reason, it's getting worse. I don't know why employers are not hearing the cries of their employees. That's none of my business, because I don't plan to be in corporate America long. But all that to be said, like, people just need to do better. Yes. So let's talk about you getting into the African community. How did you make that transition? What did you do?
It started like, so funny thing, it was two things. It was social media. Social media was number one. I remember I went into my social media, and anyone who had the geotag, like Columbus, Ohio in their tag, I scrolled through, and if you had a flag of another country that was an African country, follow. I was like, I'm gonna change the demographics showing up on my Instagram, and that was like part of it. The other part was just like taking opportunities. Like, I remember one of my African aunties was like, "Hey, this thing is going on. You want to come?" And I was like, "Nope." And then after 2 days, I was like, "Actually, yeah, I want to come." And I met so many people there, and like, I remember I met this young lady who used to be a journalist here in Columbus, Ohio for NPR, and I met her. She was Ugandan American, and she's like been one of my longest friends from Columbus. And then I remember on Instagram, I was like showcasing like my yoga, fitness journey, and all this stuff, and posting. And this one girl was like, "Oh my God, I love what you're doing, and I would love to visit Zimbabwe one day." And I was like, went into the DMs, and I was like, "Hey girl," and she is the one who brought me into this community, maybe like just the broader African community in Columbus. So it was like two different places, but it tapped me into both like the Zimbabwean community in Columbus and then the general African community in Columbus. But it was social media and just saying yes when people offered like a social gathering. I said yes.
And I think that's good advice for anybody just moving to a new city in general, and, not even being African. Use social media as your asset, I love how you said if they had a flag, like they had a follow. That's what that sounds like. And yes, people underestimate the power of social media and those connections and networking. So that was great. I would not have thought of that right off the top of my head. I definitely am a big family girl, so I would have been calling my family on the phone all the time, like, I ain't got no friends, I don't know what to do.
I was, and I'm so sorry to everybody who stood by me. Thank you so much. Picked up those calls, and it was like I had like, the good thing about working the night shift was they were up. So once I got sick of people at work, my whole lunch break, I'm talking to somebody on the other side of the world. Like, it was just consistent. But it was a tough my first year was really, really tough, but then it got better and better with time. So thank you, Columbus. You've been good to me.
I love that. And Columbus, I do know, has a very large African presence. And just different parts of Columbus. So yeah, shout out to Columbus for doing that for you. Okay.
Yes.
So tell me about what you're doing now in your current role. You transitioned out of that code lab. What are you doing now?
So I'm actually still in school. I'm doing my MBA, and I think I wanted to shift into like business and stuff like that. So doing the MBA and then trying to figure out like, oh, listen, how do I start my own business? Like, literally as soon as I did that, I was like, how do I start my own thing? And I just consider myself right now like someone who's a young entrepreneur. I'm learning. I'm working on things behind the scenes, building websites, establishing, a product, merchandise and stuff like that, and just kind of setting everything up, studying. I did this like amazing entrepreneurship course that was like provided through Cornell University. It's amazing. It's a free course, but it talks about like practical entrepreneurship for women. And so like, I'm trying to get into business. I'm trying to get into like starting something seriously, 100% becoming an entrepreneur.
Right.
But you do a little bit of something else to to get by. And I never know the hustle, food delivery, Uber, whatever it is, it gets me from point
Absolutely.
A to B. But yeah, like 100% like trying to be an entrepreneur, trying to sell, trying to just put myself out there and kind of accepting the journey and the process. But it's a tough process, and I think that I have to say again, finding myself in community with other people has been the key to like making progress in that journey and even in decisions that I make. Like I will say that this job, like this role that I have as director of communications, is the first like boss role that I have in my life.
Wow.
Where and that like I just want to say like being in community is so valuable because they're not going to be vetting you the way corporate would be vetting you. They're
Right.
not going to be so hard on you the way that corporate's going to be hard on you. And this is the first role I have to like talk with consultants, talk with freelancers and say, what do you think? What's going on? I'm having to assemble a team to show up. And so like, I'm like, wow, I'm getting this experience. And this is not from my business that I'm setting up, because there I'm still doing everything. I'm still doing all the work, but
Right.
here I get to like actually just using the dollars from the organization, and I'm figuring out who to hire, who to work with, what kind of work they do. So it's traditionally maybe thought as community organizing, but for me it's like I'm learning something, and the amount of time it takes away from me for what I'm getting back doesn't even make sense.
And I feel it sounds like you're finding your voice in this role.
Yep.
And I love that.
Yeah. And just really being niched down. Because when I started, right, I was like the youngest person. They was like, yeah, young person just does social media. And then, traditional media just took a huge hit. Like social media has been growing. And so like I remember initially there was a push to like do traditional media, and then like our first festival, 10,000 people were interested in the festival through Facebook alone.
Wow.
2,000 people were like committed, they were coming, and I set up the Facebook. So everybody's like, "What did you do?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
I just made a page.
I set up the page. I put up the event. I post here and there. I boosted the event. I didn't do anything. And I remember giving the credit to somebody else in that first year. And I was like, I think it's because we invited this person.
Wow.
And then the next year, we did it again. I remember the next year we did it again, and that was 2020. So our first festival was in 2019. And 2020, our numbers were up like before we even officially canceled. We had to cancel because we didn't know what was going on. And I remember thinking, okay, it's not them, it's
you, right? That was my work.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, it's me. And then I was like, wow, this is great. And then we did it again 2021. And I was like, okay. And then like now by that point, so even though we didn't have a festival in 2020, I realized, okay, it's me, it's social media. So I said to myself, what can I do in 2021 to make it better? And things were not quite clear whether we're going to have the festival or not in 2021. But in 2020, I was like, before doing this, I know what I can do to make it better. And fortunately, it was just like fate, because people were just approaching us and saying, hey, we would love to do this for you. Would love to do this for you. Like, what do you think and everything? And I was like, I think I'm hiring people now. I think I'm hiring.
Yes, I love that.
I think I'm giving people direction. I think I'm becoming hands-off in the role that I do. And that was amazing. Like, it was just like, wow. And a shout out to Studio 651, Lisa Brown. Like, she approached us. And then when I talked with her, I was like, yeah, you can work. You can work with us. You can work with us because what you do is what the support that I need. Because we were looking at demographics, and even though Facebook brings us the numbers, we were like, it just really does target a certain demographic, and we want to see what we can do with Instagram. We want to see what we can do with TikTok and see if we can get the message to people.
Right.
Anytime feedback that we got was, I didn't know the festival was happening. I didn't know there was an African festival in Columbus. Like, that was what would get us feedback, because you know those Facebook ads be late to the party after it.
Very much so. They are very tardy to the party.
Yeah. So after the festival's done and people are busy talking about, we had a great time and all this stuff, and they're posting their pictures. Somebody's like, I didn't know.
Right. What festival?
And we're like, okay, so we're shifting our attention, but like it was through just like trying to be a community organizer, trying to be involved with other people who were doing something. And yeah, having the fortune of being like a founding member of this organization.
And you know what? I'm so happy that you shared that journey, because I feel like a lot of people can empathize with that, right? Like, starting in a role, it sounds like you kind of were doing what was working, and then it started working. And you like, okay. And then you see the growth, and then you take credit for your work because you realize that's you. And I just really appreciate that journey, right?
You can imagine like how it lends to personally getting the bag. Like when you know that you can pitch something and sell something online, like a festival, then you know that you can pitch your own small events, you know,
practice.
You start seeing what you can do with the same little thing that you were kind of like, oh, because I remember like what I said to myself was, wait, what about if I go this hard for my brand? What about if I go this hard for my business? Like, I think I can convert, you know. I didn't think I could convert all along, but I wasn't trying, you know. And if I can do this for something else that I am passionate about, then I can also do this for something that I'm equally passionate about. So
yes, that's a great point. That is a great point, because these industry jobs, corporate jobs, like this, really, if you really want to be an entrepreneur, this is great practice. Like, you're going to have to pitch all of this for your business. Speaking of such, what are you thinking? Are you able to drop some details of what business we can expect?
So I'm creating a wellness brand. It's me teaching yoga online. I have a YouTube channel. I have a social media page. It's Shami the Yogi, SHAMI the Yogi, AYOGI, Shami the Yogi, and I have a wellness brand that I'm kicking off. It's just like, I really wanted to talk about mental health and wellness and how you can kind of go with everything every day in your life, that transition from being in college to like corporate life, how to balance that. Yeah, and I just felt like when I was going through it, I was just struggling, and I just remember feeling like, are the people struggling? Because I'm struggling.
Absolutely.
And then I said, okay, what can we do about it? And you know, I'm in therapy.
And I feel like everybody should be.
Yes, I'm in therapy. And I remember just thinking like, I kind of indirectly became a mental health advocate by just saying, go to therapy. And I was also a resident assistant in college. And one of the things they'll tell us is, if somebody comes to you and they have an issue that just seems a little bit outside of like what you know, refer them to the counseling center. And I remember like having referred so many people there. And then in grad school, I was like, I think I should go, you know, like, I was like,
right.
If I were my RA, I would tell me to go. And I remember just going in there and I was like, oh, wow. And it was free in college. And that's what I would tell any young person, if you're in grad school, if you're in college, if you think you don't need therapy, just go in and find out if you do or you don't. Like, go
one session, just one, give it one session.
It's free. And now I'm paying $200. Like, this is not cheap. So I would say like, go do it while it's cheap, but like wanting to become a physical health advocate, a mental health advocate, made me say like, how about we create a wellness brand and just like build something. So it's still in the works. Like, I'm still building the website.
Okay.
But the aim is just, you know, merge the typical stuff, a candle here. I do have a productivity journal that I designed.
Yes.
And the point of my productivity journal is minimalism. So not a lot. I'm not trying to make you be very productive. I'm trying to have you have realistic expectations of what being productive is. So like, there's not more than 3 things on your to-do list.
Like baby steps.
Like just like 3 things, like 3 things that if you do, you feel great that you did them. And 3 things that if you don't do, they are worth carrying over to the next day. folding laundry is not supposed to be on your to-do list. Like those are chores. Those are things that you get to do every day or every other day, and they're not do or die things. So it was just like really trying to recalibrate people to say like, this is what you expect, and then checking in on yourself. There's a little scale meet of like, how well are you doing? Are you happy? Are you sad? Like general feelings, but there's also like all the way to like, do you feel motivated to just get through your day? Did you have a good night's sleep? So like real wellness indicators, not a wellness specialist or anything, just like from my experience, and then just a little bit of little piece just to kind of scribble. I felt like most young people just don't want to write, and I'm one of them. So I was like, little list will work. Just a little list, go through a list,
minimal, right?
Something, circle something, and then if you're feeling like you're having a bad day, you just flip through that journey. You realize last week you were fine. Last week you were doing great. So as much as it feels like you've been having a horrible time for the whole year, you only started feeling that way this morning.
Oh, that was for me.
Yeah, last week you gave yourself a 10 out of 10 for how you were doing. So it was just kind of like, I was just thinking like, how do young people who are entering corporate cope? And like, other things, a blog that really gives like detailed coping mechanisms that I've learned from therapy, that I've learned from yoga, the value of physical fitness, the value of therapy, the reality of therapy. I always tell people I went to therapy and I gained 20 pounds.
Huge advocate. I'm a huge advocate for therapy. We could literally sit here and talk about therapy all day.
Yeah. But I realized that like doing mental health work is really, really hard. It's exhausting, it's time consuming. So if other things start to fall off because you are in therapy, that actually makes sense.
Right.
I know many times when people talk about therapy, they're like, oh my God, like I'm glowing up, I'm eating good, I'm going to the gym, everything is great. And I'm like, that's not how it looked like for me. So if you go to therapy and you are doing a lot of shadow work, in the background, and you're wondering why you're tired, you're wondering why you don't want to go running, why you don't want to really pick what to eat, it's because your brain and your body's just focused on. So like just wellness, let's talk wellness, let's encourage wellness. And yeah, seen a lot, been through a lot. So you're just like, this is what I want to do. So that's my passion project, that's my baby. So I think I kind of want it to be perfect. So the perfectionist in me is like,
of course,
let's wait until it comes out.
Of course. Well, I love that. Like I said, I'm a huge advocate for mental health therapy. I'm somebody who went to therapy in college. I wish I could afford, well, it's not that I can afford therapy. It's just the time, right? It's really just the time.
That's exactly what I was saying today. When you find yourself going to therapy as an adult and you can't manage anything around it, that totally makes sense, because it's not just the $200 that you're paying if you're going once every week. It's the hour or sometimes 3 hours, depending with your commute to your favorite therapist.
Right.
That like you also have to factor it into the cost of it. If you go for it, I remember my first therapy session, like my first most recent therapy session, I was in there crying for a whole hour.
I believe it. Oh yeah.
So who's the next 2 hours? I'm trying to pick myself back up,
because we're here.
It was a 1 hour session, but it was a 4 hour session in my world. So like there is a time aspect to it, and I feel like you need to budget that in your life as well. And sometimes it just doesn't work out that well, So when to pick it up, when to drop it, when to keep going, how to fire your therapist, all those fun conversations.
We might have to do a part 2. We might have to do a part 2. Seriously. But no, I'm so happy that you got on. You're promoting your brand. I can't wait to see that come to fruition. I will say that I recently started doing yoga, and for somebody who, my workout regimen, I do really well, and then I take a week off and that turns into a month. So I will say yoga is the thing I've been the most consistent with right now. And it's the thing I've seen the most benefits, just feeling better, core strength. I do it every morning before I go to work because my job has been very stressful lately. And mindfulness, that's like the biggest thing I'm taking away from it. Just being aware of my body, my breathing, how I'm feeling. So I also am a huge yoga advocate now.
Yeah, and I feel like the thing that I always tell people about yoga is that it's something you can take home. Like, yes, there's so much fun being in a studio, but like you're not going to take your gym machines home. You know what I mean? You're not going to take the weights home. But you just need a mat. When I started, I didn't have a mat. I had a towel. So you just need whatever you have, and you scroll through. Maybe you find my YouTube channel.
And I'm gonna follow it. Can you shout it out?
Shami the Yogi on YouTube.
Okay.
And you just, you try do something for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever you do. Yeah. And the mindfulness is absolutely essential. And I feel like those are coping mechanisms that best fit this environment, that best fit, for me, the American environment. But as we all know, and we've all learned, I'm pretty sure in the last few years, community is a huge coping mechanism. It's a huge coping mechanism. So that's where like the idea of like the Columbus African Festival really came from, to say like, how do we create community that matches the support system and the coping mechanisms that we're used to from back home, and also how do we like let Columbus kind of experience that coping mechanism of like going and eating like African food, and listening to African music, and watching African dance, and like art and culture, and like just having a little bit of a taste of what it's like, what it would be like if we were not fully immersed here.
Exactly.
Here in America.
And I think that's a great segue to talk a little bit more about the African Festival and what it means to the Columbus community. Why do you advocate for people to attend, even if they're not African?
Yeah, so you know what? The Columbus African Festival was birthed from a community organization called The African, which was really like, I remember one of the first conversations we had was about like the African versus the African American. This was before Clubhouse had that conversation.
Oh my God.
And I remember we were defining like what makes an African and all that stuff. And I remember there were so many of us who fiercely felt that like the African is anybody who's Black. If you're Black, you're in. And then also we felt like if you were born on the continent, and you've lived on the continent regardless of race, you're also an African. So it was like a really, like, I think some of us came out with a very broad definition, but then there was like, after we took that broad definition, there was like bits and pieces about the diversities, like what about tribe, what about language, what about this, what about that, and we're like, okay, how do we showcase this? Like, how do we make other people see that they are African, because we're like, we want the African diaspora to know that they're African, but how do we make them see that? So you come to the festival and you see us eating and doing things that you grew up with as, Afro-Latina, African-American, and then you're like, wait, I know about this.
I did this, right.
This is my life. Why does this feel familiar? So it was more like we were trying to have a conversation about like the definition of an African is broad and there's uniqueness, but there's similarity. So we're like, let's bring that to Columbus. Other people might be out there having the debate in a divisive way, but we want to like show people in Columbus what it's about. And then we were just kind of like, how also do we like get everybody, like Americans and Columbus in general, to just understand, like, to be comfortable, to understand the African culture, to understand Africanness, to not see things that we do as strange or out of character or weird or misinterpret that. And we're like, we're just going to show them what we do and we're going to invite them. So it's like, we consider ourselves the middleman, right? Like, Africans come through, everybody else come through. We meet right here and you see something, you learn something. Then the next time you experience it, it's not weird, it's not strange, it's not off. You might even begin to identify with it if it makes sense, or you just might understand what's going on. And that was like our main goal. We're just celebrating being us, with everyone who feels like they fit in. And I remember I always get questions, because I'm a social media girl, I always get questions. Are there gonna be African-American vendors? Are they gonna be like Afro-Latina? I'm like, yes, and yes.
So it's not just like an African fest, like it may sound like there's gonna be cultures everywhere.
Yeah, I remember our festival, there was a lady who was like, she was like, oh, I want to sell, wings and everything. Can I come? And we're like, yes, ma'am, you can come. And your first festival, you're not getting people, like people are just not wanting to come and be vendors. And she came through and she sold out like the biggest. I was like,
wings? Are we talking chicken?
Chicken wings.
I know that's right.
She was selling chicken wings are fried. It's fried. And I was like, she's like, well, people buy that. I'm like, this is for
girl,
everyone.
right?
And I was like, it's part of who we are. Like, who doesn't eat chicken?
Okay.
I guess you're vegan or vegetarian. Your most probably cool is chicken. And like, she sold out in a couple of hours. Just like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting this positive reception. And I was like, this is for everybody, and our cultures are so similar. And so you don't have to like overthink it. There's space for everybody, and there's room. Like, there are other things that you experience. And what I want to say is that as an African who's Zimbabwean, there are also other things I'm experiencing for the first time too. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, talk about that. Yeah.
Like, I'm Zimbabwean. I'm not from West Africa or North Africa or East Africa. So there are certain things that I will be experiencing for the first time. I will be getting my hand up for the first time, and too. Like, it's new to me too. It does feel different to me too. Not everything feels comfortable. Like, Africa is a huge continent with so much diversity. You don't always have the exact same experiences. I might find myself having like, I tried Dominican food recently, and I was like, oh, this is just home food. Like,
period.
Like, there's certain places where you don't expect to have similarities, and you have it, and then there's certain places where you don't have any. You just have to sit back and be like, I'm African, but I don't know nothing about this, and somebody else might be African American, Afro-Latina, from the Caribbeans, will have more knowledge and more experience with that. So I feel like it's for everybody.
I think that is a very good point. And I love how you started that off, the African American and African conversation, because I've only heard about that in the divisive way. Like, I haven't heard anything about it, the cultures coming together and we're agreeing that this is what we are, this is what we are, this is who we are. And I love that you just phrase it like, this is for everybody. This is not just for African people. Like, everybody come get a bit of everybody's culture and celebrate, have some food, have some dance, get some education about other cultures, and have a good time.
Have a good time. Have a good time.
So
amazing.
Besides vendors, what else can we expect from the African Festival?
We are going to have performers coming in, and like, we have people who are like, the music is amazing because we have people who are giving us like some very traditional instrumental like stuff, and then you're getting like Afro R&B, Afro pop,
Afro R&B. Wow.
Yeah, so like, you are getting like our versions of like traditional genres, like just what you typically hear.
Right.
In the past, we've had Afro hip hop, so it's like, you're getting an idea of like, oh, this is, there's a historical element. You're going to be seeing certain things that, might feel a little bit like very, very traditional, things that are almost sacred, like dance and things like that. But you're also going to get like the modern stuff,
right.
Me.
We're not like, it's going to be roots, but we're also going to get some of them, like you said, the more modern.
Like the modern day experiences, you're gonna find certain clothes, certain scarves, certain jewelry, certain beadings, and you're gonna be like, oh, okay, like this is very traditional. And then you're gonna be like, wait, that's a crop top. Like in the same space. So like, there's that. Like, really, the vendors really bring a lot to it. But like, yeah, the dance I'm going to see, because like, there are some amazing dance groups. I've never heard of them. I've never seen them perform.
That's exciting.
Like, it is. And the costuming of the dancers is so amazing.
It's like vibrant. Yeah. Vibrant colors.
Like, I'm even like, where did you get this? And some of it is like almost like religious traditional stuff. And you're like, oh my God, like, where did you get this? And the energy of the dance style is like, woo, out of this world.
Yes.
For somebody to give you like a 5-minute, dance songs 5 minutes long, somebody's on the dance floor breaking a sweat for 5 minutes, and she's like, you okay?
That's a long time. Like, 5 minutes, a minute is a long time, but 5 minutes.
Yeah, and, so yeah, we're gonna be at Franklin Park. We're gonna be at the amphitheater, like right around the amphitheater. We're gonna be there from noon to 8 p.m. There's like a little bit of rain predicted, but it's not anything crazy, and that it doesn't even touch Franklin Park. But yeah, like, once you get there, there's gonna be signs. You're gonna be able to see where we are. Come in, walk around, grab a bite, stick around for the show. We're gonna have like Afro beats, a DJ playing from the time we get there all the way to like around 3, and then we're gonna have the performers come on and perform. So like I'm excited because I already know I'm gonna just have a good time, even though I'm the host.
Yes.
I know I'm gonna have a good time even though I'm the host, and also just excited to meet people because people want to know, people want to hear from us, people want to listen. And like you said, Columbus has a huge African population, huge like Ghanaian community, Somalian community, but we always say like it's in silos. Like if you don't come to the north side, or if you don't go to this part of town, you don't get to interact with those people. So we're like opening up to say, you know what, let's meet somewhere in the middle. You come through, you see this, and like some of the vendors we're having there, they have regular spots. So beyond that, you know, you can find them on DoorDash and be like, I want
yes
I want that dish that I tried on Saturday, and I want all the fixes that go with it, and I can eat this. So it's really also a place that we promote and we celebrate the talent that's, you know, locally here. Instead of always bringing in people from somewhere else.
Absolutely, because Columbus has so much rich talent. Like it's insane. Just seeing, I moved to Columbus 2 years ago, moved back home, and now I'm back here in Columbus, and it's a very diverse city. So I love this. I love this festival, and I'm excited for you.
Yeah. And, to anybody who's watching, like, go to our Instagram page, Columbus African Festival. We have the Eventbrite link. Let us know you're coming. So it's free to attend.
That's the part. Free.
Those scammers who are in the comments saying, I can't go to this event no more, dear me. If you want tickets, they're lying to you. Our event is free. We literally have tickets just for the purposes of like having a realistic expectation of who's coming. So let us know you're coming. You know, just go register. You and 5 of your friends, 6 of your family members. It's family friendly. Like anybody can come. I don't care how old, how young you are. Come through and just have a good time. And yeah, click in, and honestly, like if you go to our Instagram page, you can see what to expect. You can see what we've done in the past. Like we have everything up, so you can kind of see like, oh, get an idea.
Right.
You can spend 2 hours with us, you know, and go on the rest of your day and go somewhere else and go do something else. You can spend 30 minutes with us. Like I would say, don't let the weekend pass without you stopping by. And somebody was asking me, I'm just gonna put it out there. There is public transport. You get that Route 10 bus. It will drop you off 3 minutes away from the park. So there is public transport if you want to get public transport. So
there's literally no reason why y'all shouldn't be there. If you're in the Columbus community, she said it's free. There's food, there's dance, there's fun, and there's transportation. Like those are all the things Black people look for when coming to an event. So I want to see y'all there. I am so sad. I'm actually going to be out of town this weekend, or else I will be there. But make sure y'all get y'all tickets, and do not, like she said, do not give y'all money to them scammers in the comments.
Nope.
She said those are not real
like
people.
All the money that you are spending is literally if you want to buy something from one of our vendors, food or a trinket or something. But yeah, come through it. I'm like, I have my budget. I have my festival budget because I know the food's gonna get me broke.
You said I'm gonna be spending.
Oh, I'm gonna be spending because I like, yeah. You know, the products are unique. Like as much as you think, oh, I can find it somewhere, like you really can't. You really can't. So you just make the sacrifice and make the purchases right there and enjoy yourself.
So it sounds like y'all need to come with y'all festival budget too. That's what it sounds like to me. So I would love to know, you know, with you being, you know, a Zimbabwean, is that how you say that? What is your favorite thing about your culture?
Well, okay, so there is the food, obviously. Like the food is, you know, I think everybody, like I always say, like I remember I have an aunt of mine who refers to Zimbabwean food as soul food, you know, and I was like, right. Anything that you think of as this takes me right back home, or this takes me right back to my childhood, that's your soul food, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I was like, there's the food. The food is just amazing. The people are amazing. The music. One of the artists performing is a Zimbabwean artist. Like he did his time back home. He's an international artist. He did a show in Europe, and he did really, really well. And he's based here in Ohio, and he's coming through. He's gonna give you a set. He does something like inspirational Afro jazzish, R&B-ish.
Okay.
And he's been performing for like every festival we've had because people have loved it. Very interactive. We'll be teaching you some Zimbabwean words. I feel like just that energy of community, the pace. I love home. I love the food. I love like all things that have to do with the art and the culture. You know, you kind of, each community kind of niches down. We have great like woodwork, stonework. You kind of fall in love. And yeah, listen, when I'm going to Zimbabwe, it's gonna be an event, and I'm gonna take all of you along.
I was gonna ask, when will you return?
I'm not quite sure. I feel like maybe within a year or two.
Okay.
Sometimes you just kind of have to settle down a little bit. But like within a year or two, I'd love to visit, and like I'll take y'all. I'll take all of you. Let's go have
me first. Because I would love, like, one of my dreams is to go to Africa. And like you said, Africa has so many countries in it. Like, it's huge. So wherever I land first, I just want to be in Africa.
Yeah, I get that. Me too. Me too.
And we're going to get some food. What is your favorite dish? So I know to keep that in mind.
Okay, so at this festival specifically, oh Lord, that's a trick question, girl. I don't know what you're asking me. Let me just go through the whole list.
Okay, yeah, give them me all.
Okay, meat pies. That's a pastry. So good, so good. Get that. Jollof rice. From any country. I know they be having wars, but they're all good. Like, Lord, plantain, fried plantain. Oh my God, that's so good. That's so good.
You're making me hungry. I gotta eat.
A sobo juice, which is like hibiscus juice. I'm trying to think the Jamaican name for it. I've kind of forgotten. But like, yeah, that's pretty good. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be there. The suya meat, which is like barbecued, like grilled beef that's like super spiced, so good. There's gonna be everything. I love all of it. Like, honestly, just go and try it.
She's like, just come.
and like let people know. Just the only thing I'll say is let people know your spice tolerance. It's mostly gonna be made like mild. So if you like it spicy, you better tell somebody you want it, you know, spicy. But yeah, the food is gonna be, oh yeah, I know. Oh Lord, you know, that's the one benefit of being like an organizer. As soon as they start cooking, I'm gonna be like, save me a plate.
Yeah, do you get like a voucher or something? Do you get the food for free?
No.
That's why you got the budget. That makes sense.
I support Black-owned businesses. I pay everybody.
I know that's right.
Yeah. I'm gonna be supporting everybody, but like I guess I just get first dibs on like what I want. I get to look at the menu before everybody else and say what I want. But nothing free for me. At least I'm not intending to get anything for free. So yeah. But I will be at the welcome desk, you know, giving you your bands just to, you know, make sure we kind of have a head count of who's there. So when you come through and you see me, say hi. Tell me you saw me on Getting to the Bag.
Yes.
Tell me that you want to be a vendor next year and get your bag. Like, talk to me when you see me.
Marketing. That's what I love to hear. Well, y'all heard it here first. August 20th, Franklin Park, 12 to 8 p.m. It's an all-day event. It's a free event. Make sure y'all go support the African Columbus Festival. And before we get out of here tonight, we got to do my favorite segment, give them their flowers. So anybody who's helped you either in your professional journey, your personal journey, this journey of planning the festival, you can go ahead and give them their flowers now.
All right. I want to shout out Miss Lisa Brown. Lisa Brown, you know what you did, girl?
Yes, Miss Lisa, that's my girl.
I'm giving you your flowers. Thank you so much for like bringing me to the platform, connecting me with FPL, like, and just like working with us, like networking and working with us as a festival. She's amazing. She's a Black woman in the community who, you know, if you need anything, she's virtual assistant, social media, strategist, manager. She's she can get you wherever you want to go. So yeah, check her out. She runs like Studio 651. Oh, if I'm missing stuff, I'm so sorry, ma'am. But yeah, I want to give her flowers for just being someone who did the corporate, you know, learned the ropes and is out here helping the community and doing work in the community. I appreciate that.
Yes, Miss Lisa B is that girl. Like Beyonce said, I'm that girl.
Yeah. Do I have to give another one?
If you want to, this is all whoever you want to give them to.
Let me give a shout out to Joanne and Bart Ashipkong. They are the owners of a food truck called Fork in Nigeria. It's located off of Rice Road on the east side. If you need some Nigerian jollof, go there. Okay, they're the plug. Their food is so good. Their fried plantain is so good. They're gonna be at the festival, and they are, also the founding members of the Columbus African Festival. Shout out to them and the work that they've been doing. If you go and you buy their food, or you go on their social media, you better spam them and tell them I sent you. But yeah,
absolutely.
Mark and Joanne, 14 Nigeria, Columbus, awesome people. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Shout out to them. Shout out Ms. Lisa. Make sure y'all go get that food. It's on Bryce Road. I know where it's at, so I will be in there, and I will be letting them know that you sent me.
Yep.
Well, before we get out of here tonight, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, advertising your event, organizing this event, hosting this event. When is it? Saturday?
Yes, Saturday. This Saturday.
So are you going to, after Saturday, are you going to take a nice long Sunday off, nice self-care day?
Oh, Lord. You know I'm going to be resting.
As you should, Queen, as you should.
Because you got to get to the bag.
Always.
Yep.
Well, make sure you shout out once again your social media so we know what to expect coming from you.
Columbus African Festival. We are there on Facebook. We're a Facebook page. We're here. We're on Eventbrite. My personal page, Shami the Yogi, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter, everywhere.
Follow her YouTube.
Yeah, it's been lovely talking with you, Umbrielle, and meeting everybody who's been here. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. But before we get out of here tonight, can you please leave us with a positive note?
All right, on a positive note, I would say when you think you're done, just imagine if you were your own boss and push just a little bit more. Don't give it all to corporate, a little bit for you, push just a little bit more. Yeah.
I wish I had a sound effect because I would do like a bomb drop, like bag talk. There you go. That's it. Mic drop. That's it.
That's it.
Well, thank you, Shami. We're about to get out of here tonight, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Make sure y'all tune in next week. I'm going to have my guy, Jawan Ty, on the show. Personal investor, telling us all his tips and tricks to get to the bag in other ways. Make sure y'all tap in and enjoy this song by my girl, Tasia Labrie, Don't Go Back. Y'all have a great night. Bye. Have a good night. Don't go back to that corporate job. Don't go back. No, for real, don't.